Fujifilm X T3, an incredibly versatile mirrorless camera for both video and stills. Fujifilm's X T3 is a mirrorless all-rounder and successor to the Fujifilm X T2, one of the best sub-pound 1500 cameras of recent years. Praised for its rich, atmospheric JPEGs and tactile shooting experience, the X T2's vintage design also made it one of the most desirable cameras around. This means that, externally, the Fujifilm X T3 hasn't changed much. It's still a weatherproof, magnesium alloy beauty with a generous helping of customizable dials and buttons. But inside are significant sensor and processor upgrades that turn it from being a largely stills-focused camera into an all-rounder with video powers to challenge the likes of Panasonic's GH5. As before, the X T3 is based on an APS-C sensor, which is smaller than the full-frame equivalents found in new mirrorless contenders like Nikon's Z series and Canon's EOS R. Yet sensors like Fujifilm's X-Trans chip allow cameras like the X T3 to be smaller, lighter and more affordable equivalents to full-frame models. As such, the X T3 costs a very reasonable £1,349, body only. Combine this with Fujifilm's excellent range XF lenses, which stands at 31 and counting, and you have a very tempting proposition for both enthusiastic amateurs and pro shooters. So do the Fujifilm X T3's improvements mean it's again shaping up to be the complete mirrorless all-rounder? The answer is an emphatic yes. While significantly smaller than a DSLR, the X T3 is relatively large for an APS-C mirrorless camera. It's slightly heavier than its predecessor at 539 grams, and 10 mm wider too. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Its superbly built, magnesium alloy body feels rock solid in the hand and nicely balanced with most lenses. Camera size is a personal thing, but if you're looking for DSLR-style handling without the bulk, then I'd say the X T3 is right in the sweet spot. Its baby brother, the Fujifilm X T20, or Sony's A6500 are always options if you want something more travel-sized. What really distinguishes XT cameras from their mirrorless rivals are their analog dials. These give it a fun, tactile shooting experience that's also very customizable. Most of its buttons can be reconfigured to do anything from checking focus to changing ISO. One particularly handy option is being able to add ISO to the front dial, which means you can tweak it without taking your eye from the viewfinder. The eagle-eyed will notice a few physical tweaks from the X T2. The X T3's viewfinder is slightly more prominent for a bit of extra nose clearance, its rear buttons are now a little larger, and the thumb grip is a bit chunkier to help keep it balanced. The main dials, ISO, shutter speed and exposure compensation, are also slightly bigger and easier to turn. The biggest external upgrade to the Fujifilm X T3, though, is its viewfinder. You now get the same EVF as the one found in the pricier Fujifilm X-H1, which means a sharp, 3.69mm resolution with a 60 fps refresh rate, or 100 fps in boost mode. Strangely, the viewfinder's 0.75x magnification means it's fractionally smaller than its predecessors, but far more noticeable to me was that resolution boost. It's a joy to shoot with and more than good enough for anyone nervous about making the leap from a DSLR's optical viewfinder. The news is more mixed when it comes to the X T3's 3.2-inch LCD screen. It's now touch-sensitive, hooray, which means you can tap subjects to focus on them and swipe through photos. But it still uses the same 3-axis tilting action as before. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, and its side folding mechanism is useful if you shoot regularly in portrait. It's just a shame you don't get the excellent, fully articulating screen that Fujifilm recently introduced on the cheaper XT100, particularly as there are now built-in microphone and headphone ports for vloggers. Still, there is one final bonus next to those two sockets, a USB-C port, which supports direct charging. This feature is fast becoming standard on mirrorless cameras and lets you top up the battery via an external battery pack while on the move. Very handy.